Welcome back to the Juv'ae podcast. This is episode 3, I guess. We've got the founder, director, boss lady of Anti-Age Me.
Bonjour.
Jacinta Oritti Woolley. Did I say that right?
Yeah, somewhat.
I'll just give you a background of what we're doing. We're basically just going through, I guess, just different injectors and where they are in their progression and their journey. Mm-hmm. So you're here because, you've, I guess, fairly recently. How long did you open your clinic?
It's been 3 years.
3
now.
years now, yeah. So you sort of faced the challenges of opening up.
We've had some challenges.
Yeah, you've had some challenges, which is why you're in the seat today. Just going to pick your brain about how you manage those challenges.
Yeah.
So I guess just to give the audience some background, do you want to tell us about your journey so far?
So I opened up the clinic 3 years ago. So it was in the middle of COVID, but it was after the first lockdown. So obviously Sydney only locked down for about 2 weeks. And then I signed the lease in March. I got the keys March 21, I think. And then we did the fit out, finished it, I think, in June. And then we went into lockdown 3 days later. Yeah. So
you've been through it.
Then we were shut for 4 months because that's obviously when we went into the long one. So, I've been injecting for 8 years. So I think I'd been injecting, I think, 3 years before I opened it. Okay. No, longer than that. My maths isn't good.
How did you know that you were ready to, stop? Because you were renting out a room in some...
Yeah, so basically, I used
to
work out of, I think, like 15 clinics across Sydney over a 2-week span. So I used to rotate some clinics weekly and then some fortnightly, depending how busy they were. And then basically I sort of built my name for myself and then started consolidating that so that I wasn't traveling as much. And I think I eventually got down to 2 clinics. Yep. And then cut back just to 1, and I was just renting a room so that I knew that I could sustain my business without needing any other clinic to help make me busy or prop up business, if that makes sense.
Okay. And so, obviously you go from renting a room, which is where you do commission at that time? Yeah,
which is fairly low risk in terms of that. You don't have any outgoings. Yeah. If you have no clients, you don't have to have any, don't have to outlay any money basically. Yeah. So it's really great when you are starting. Yeah. But then obviously as you start to get busier, then the amount of money you're paying in commission, you look at it and you go, I could just have my own place or just rent a room for a flat amount.
Yeah. So the numbers worked out. You figured it's probably time for me to open my own clinic. Yeah. But then of course with that obviously comes the stress of can I maintain that level of sales and that sort of thing?
Yeah.
Because you got to your cash flow is different now. Yeah. You got your overheads and that sort of thing. Yeah. So I guess what have there been how do you manage, say, a drop in sales? On bookings.
So the most significant one, obviously, I started noticing, I think, that bookings started to drop, I think, probably beginning of last year. I started noticing somewhat of a downturn. Yeah. It had definitely started to fractionally slow. Then I found out I was pregnant in March last year. And I was like, I don't know how this is going to go. Yeah. And so then obviously as the year went on, the economy started to get even worse. And so I knew that I would then be taking maternity leave November. In October, we then had developers bought our building, and then they covered the entire thing with scaffolding, and we had jackhammering above us. So there was a number of different things that really just made one thing 10,000 times worse. So the economy downturning, and then we had my maternity leave, and then also the business was covered, and so that was really difficult to navigate and try and prepare for. And I found that no matter how much preparation I kind of did, it still was just really hard to do.
And so that's just something that you sort of noticed day to day that the bookings are dropping, or do you have numbers that you sort of compare?
So I do have the numbers. I think as injectors you do notice when it starts to, because you obviously go normally I'm fully booked and it's starting to slow, or when we come back after Christmas and January is just that little bit more slow, and then it doesn't really pick up as much in March. You're like, I think something's going on here. So you get the feel for it, but I also operate the business through Square. So Square has really good analytics. Like I can tell you right now, my anti-wrinkle versus dermal filler sales used to pretty much be 50-50. And now that has halved, if not quartered, in my filler sales.
Yeah.
So you know it, but then you can also then see it in those numbers.
Yeah. And I guess you've really got to try and pinpoint what's the cause of that.
Yeah.
drop.
Or what you can do to change it.
Exactly.
That's the thing. So I had a good sit down with Cindy, who works for me as well. You know Cindy.
Hi, Cindy, yeah.
And we kind of just developed a bit of a plan. So obviously it's a little bit harder to go back to basics. You know, my bread and butter used to always be social media and going to that and posting more, because I find the more presence you have online, the more you remind people, hey, I'm here. And they'll be like, oh, you know what? I need to come in. So that kind of changed. So we had to work out, okay, what can we post about? And what are the other things that we can do? So making sure we're rebooking, do emails, do texts, different ways of just bringing people in the doors, I guess. It's good. We've got a loyalty program that we use, and also we do referrals. So for people that refer. But yeah, it is hard. It's hard now. We have to change the way that we do things.
I think like what the strategies that you were talking about, it kind of, in a way, you can sort of break it into how do I increase my sales and bookings by, you know, targeting new clients versus the existing ones, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, is there anything you do for existing clients to try and get them in the door a bit more, or?
Existing, I think, would still be, you know, Instagram and whatever. Facebook, I just don't really see anything from. Before I went on maternity leave, I did a big event because obviously, you know, Christmas needs to be busy.
Yeah.
So the fact that I was going on maternity leave in November, I was like, I need to bring as much money into the business to get us through that period. So I did a really good event where I partnered with all of the like companies within the business. So we've got Cutera machines. So we partnered with them. We partnered with SkinCeuticals. We did stuff with Outside Skin. And then I got Cindy to do, so we ran workshops on the day. So I did an event for our birthday. We had 3 different workshops, one with Cutera, one with SkinCeuticals, which Cindy was running.
Yeah.
And then I think there was another one, but I can't really remember. And that was great. Yeah. So we did a big giveaway, and I basically sent that out to everyone in a big email, and I said, we've got like a few $1,000s worth of things to give away. You could go in the draw to win it simply by coming. Yeah. And the amount of people in that clinic was insane. We were packed. So that was amazing. And we did 10% off gift cards, because obviously, you know, we can't do sales on S4 medications, but I can do sales on gift cards.
That's true.
So yeah, we did 10 or 20% off our gift cards, and then that just had the money coming in. Yeah. And also just showcased, I guess, different things that people maybe normally wouldn't have done. Yeah. So yeah, learning more about the bonding systems, having demonstrations, having Cindy with SkinCeuticals giving out samples and doing skin consultations. And that was really great. We had lots of people buying skincare, and then obviously the gift cards. Yeah. And that was really good.
It's interesting because you sort of talk about newer sort of treatments that you add to your clinic to try and you know, bring in some new. So you talk about Cutera, some SkinCeuticals. How do you go about deciding what extra services you sort of add on to your clinic?
I think I wanted to do stuff that I don't have to physically do. Yeah. So, you can sort of
so
that's what's important. Like I'm busy, and I think it's really great if you can get someone to go to another person within the clinic, then they're going to get to know them and be comfortable with them, and then suddenly they sort of know everyone, and it's easier. Like if I'm away or whatever, they're happy to go to that person, and it's not an issue, if that makes sense. But I guess working out the sort of things that I guess I would bring in, I do a lot of things differently. Okay. I don't know. Yeah, I've learned a lot. That's the great thing about it. I've learned a lot. Hindsight's amazing.
Because I think that's something that you definitely need to consider if you are going to open up a clinic, right? Because obviously, you know, if you go from renting a room, you can't offer all the skincare, you can't offer devices and that sort of thing.
No.
But, you know, once you do open your own clinic, that's definitely something you need to consider, I feel like.
Yeah, you do really need to look into that. Obviously, I still just think, to be honest, in the position I'm in now, the way I'm looking back at everything, I'm like, I wish I just stuck to the bread and butter.
Oh, okay.
I wish that I had. Like, I think I was like, you know what? I'll take a risk. I'll do this. I'll do that. Yeah. But I kind of do just think I wish that I had just stuck to the basics a little bit.
Okay, so is that one of your sort of regrets?
Not a regret.
Okay.
Not a regret. I don't regret anything. I've learned a lot. Yeah. And I think for me, I'm just a person. I need to learn the hard way.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
like, I was told. I was told.
You lived through your mistakes. You lived through living. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, and I think you just sometimes you just need to, I guess, stick to what you. When I started injecting, the main thing was I was like, I like that what we do, there's not a lot of outgoing. So I liked that I was renting rooms, and if things were slow, it was easy. It took a lot of stress off me. So now obviously what I'm finding is things are slowing down, but I still have just as many outgoings, and that's what I find very stressful. And I wish that I sort of still had stuck to that mentality in a way, and, you know, maybe not gotten machines, because now I'm still having to fork out, and I find that a lot of what I'm working is I'm just working to kind of pay all those bills as we get through that period. So it definitely did just kind of complicate things a lot.
I mean, in our industry, you know, it's very seasonal, cyclical. There's lots of ebbs and flows with the sales. So how do you go about managing cash flow? Say, like, knowing that, you know, in 3 months' time, when everyone's in Europe, obviously, I mean, everyone's probably in Europe now. People go to Europe around this time.
Well, we're getting the big Europe rush now.
Yeah, exactly. So how do you sort of manage that cash flow, knowing that over the next sort of couple months, it might not be as busy as, say, now?
I guess you can look at certain things that you could do. So we started offering like express facials. So they're like half the price, half the amount of time. And that brings people in. So my staff, Cindy's permanent part-time. Yeah. Annie is casual. So then that kind of cuts your costs in the sense, like, it's not like you're paying someone to be there full-time, day in, day out. Like, everything, Annie's hours, Annie comes in from when she has a client to the end of her clients. And if we can try and move those clients together, then we will. But I guess just continuing when it is quiet, just continuing social media and stuff like that. Just reminding people that they're there, checking in on people. So we've got auto emails as well. So we're always sending follow-up emails. But otherwise, I think when it is really quiet, there's also not too much you can do.
There's not much, and you sort of have to just trust that it will sort of come back.
Yeah, I don't really like harassing people too much. I'm not going to send out an email once a week or whatever. Like, they really send me mental, and I get annoyed with text messages a lot. So I think if I'm going to do those things, it's going to be every now and then when it is something important. So then, you could time it with when it is going to be quiet, offering some sort of a discount or something like that. Another big thing I think is also just to broaden your reach. So I want to focus on the area. So then, like, marketing to a lot of the people that live near the clinic.
Yeah, end of the day, if you've got an injector that's good, that's closer.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And we've got such good street frontage. So I think that they say, like, people need to see or hear about a business 7 times and then they'll come in. So I think it's, if you can think about it from that perspective, like, how can I increase the amount of times people see me or hear about me? So I've got pretty good relationships with people in the street, like the other businesses. For our birthday as well, I did little flyers and I attached them to the window outside, and the amount of people I saw walking past and grabbing them was really good. So I definitely, now that they've removed all our scaffolding and the clinic looks good, I'm going to do some more of them to have out the front. And then just look at other ways, I guess, of marketing to our suburb or area.
All right. Yeah, a lot of little
Yeah, because
tips
it's
and tricks,
convenient. It's so convenient, and people see you all the time. So imagine it's finally that one little thing. Oh, I've got this flyer, or you know what? I've seen them so many times. I've been meaning to go in. I think that's a really
But yeah, thanks for coming in. I mean, we have to wrap it up, but yeah, thanks for coming in. A lot of good strategies there.
I feel like I had so much to talk about. I don't know what I said.
A lot of good strategies there, and I think that'd be really useful for someone who's, you know, renting a room that's got really good business and is like thinking of taking that next step, and is obviously, you know, it's always a bit scary and daunting, but I think you've put a lot of useful tips out there, and you've overcome some pretty tough times. Yeah. So I think,
it's stressful, but I think the thing is, like, I think number one, just communicate with your team, and just be creative. Think of other ways to do things. Yeah, you've also don't get caught on. You know, have a bad day, and then the next day get up, have a new idea. You'll get through it. It'll be fine. Keep going.
Working with you for a bit, like constantly coming with new ideas. Like you're always brainstorming. So it's great. I guess just to finish on a really positive note. What's been the most rewarding thing about sort of branching out and opening up your own clinic?
Most rewarding. I think it's just all my clients, and I think that's great. I think it's really nice. I think just seeing how proud people are of you as well. You know, for all the clients that I've treated, you know, from when I first started injecting, everyone, it's so nice seeing them. They're like, I just remember when you used to work in that little room in that place. And I'm like,
now you've got your own sort of space. It's like a good.
And it's just, I think it's good just having that flexibility as well. And I think the direction that I kind of want to go, and I think that the way TGA is going, I think that a lot of new injectors, I think the way that they will have to start injecting, they're not obviously going to be able to build the name for themselves the way that we did. So I think that the direction that's going to go in is that people will start renting rooms more, and that will be how they'll have to build themselves up. So I think that's kind of where I want to go, and I want to be able to help people do that too.
Having gone through all those tough times, I think you're a pretty inspiring person.
You.
So thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks.